the event if anybody has any questions. So there's so many issues with the federal government, I don't even know where to begin. So we got a lot of executive orders that Trump signed, which would be great if we could get them passed through Congress. However, we haven't been doing that. The border, for example, it's endless. We need to go ahead and become energy independent again. We were there under Trump's first term, we're working towards getting there, but not there yet. We need to protect, all of the amendments, but the first and second amendments are especially being under attack. And the sad thing is, it's not just by liberals. We got some quote unquote Republicans that are going ahead trying to pass red flag laws and other stuff like that. So we need to protect that because, let's face it, especially if you live out in the country, you're your first line of defense. Cops are not going to be sitting there on your property to protect you. I believe we need to go ahead, and I got a plan for small businesses, first-time business owners with the tax progression plan. Income tax, I believe we should go to a 10% flat tax, at least, unless we can go ahead and eliminate them altogether. Corporate tax rates, I'd like to see them come down. With that, we're going to have to go ahead and increase tariffs, which Trump has been doing, which is a good thing. That's how we were prior to 1913 when we implemented the income tax. But China, Taiwan, all these countries, they have an unfair advantage over American companies because they're not paying livable wages. They're not paying very much. They're not paying any taxes. All they're doing is paying tariffs. And China's tariff rate for the longest time was 1.9%, compared to the corporate tax rate of 38% that it was prior to 2018. We got lowered to 21%. So that's something we need to take a look at. There's a lot of wasteful spending in the federal government. Earmarks is one thing I would like to see eliminated completely from the budget. But we got the United Nations. We spend $13.5 billion a year. That makes up about 28% of the entire budget. The United Nations was formed to go ahead and stop prevent wars. They have failed to do that pretty much for their entire existence. So why are we paying 28% to the United Nations for them to condemn us about everything we do? WEF is another one. That one we need to not fund, not support in any way, shape, or form, in my personal opinion. Veteran issues. So I got plans for homeless veterans, help them go ahead and get back on their feet, and actually give them temporary housing. Fort Hood, when I retired out of there, they had a bunch of FEMA trailers that were set up for a temporary IOP program. Once the IOP program moved into a concrete building, they just got rid of all them trailers. We could use them to house homeless veterans, have them help around base, do a lot of the details that the soldiers do now. That way soldiers can train homeless veterans to go ahead and eat at the dining facility with leftover food. After the soldiers get done eating, and we have substance abuse, medical, and everything else on base on Fort Hood. So that's one thing I'd like to see happen. Also, with a lot of soldiers coming back, whether you're active duty or retired veteran or veteran, period, you come back with PTSD. And I've seen time and time again where soldiers have a therapist that works for them, they fall out of the network, and then they got to go see another therapist and start all over from scratch again. And I've known people that have done that 6 different times. It gets tiring. They go ahead and they give up. And unfortunately, I've had way too many friends commit suicide because of stuff like this. Congress has a little slush fund for all the sexual harassment and all that kind of stuff. There's no reason why we cannot have a similar thing for the veterans. So if your therapist falls out of network, they were helping you, we take money out of that fund to pay that therapist so you can continue to get the help you need. I want to ban all transgender surgeries, at least until 18. I want to make it a federal crime of child abuse, because that's what it is. And also, the last one I'll touch on real quick is the pharmaceutical companies. They have no liability. That's why we had, up until just earlier this week, went from about maybe 7 vaccines when I was born in 1980 to 77. And the problem is a lot of these pharmaceutical companies, they're paying the politicians. Why most of these politicians don't want to touch it. I'd also like to go ahead and ban the mRNA COVID-19 shot, because if you want to talk to me after this, I can tell you all kinds of stories of people I know personally that have been hurt and affected by that. And it's poison that was forced on us by our government. So once again, my name is William Abel. Ladies, if you have any questions, feel free to come up and talk to me.